Do you think it's about time that there's a class action lawsuit against Montreal police for racial profiling? It's finally gotten authorization in Quebec court. And for a lot of people, they say it's been a long time coming. What do you think? 790-0800. I'm going to go to your calls in just a second. You know, for 3 years, I worked for the Expos, the baseball team, back at the start of this century. I love saying it that way. But 2002 to 2004, I worked at the Expos. And at that time, we had a lot of American employees, right? So, you know, one of my best friends while I was working for the Expos was a guy from the States, originally from Arizona, a black guy. And, you know, we always had really fun debates between the Canadian employees and the U.S. employees there because, you know, it was at the time of the Iraq War and George W. Bush was the president. We'd always have, like, you know, fun animated conversations about our countries and the differences in our countries. And I remember being so smug about how much better it was here in Montreal in Canada when it came to racial profiling. I really had that view. And then I remember texting my friend, that same friend once, texting him saying, "Hey, where are you?" And he's like, "Just sitting in my car, pulled over by the police." And he was pulled over because his car had Arizona plates. He was driving a Mercedes with an Arizona plate, gets pulled over by the police. And that was the first time I said, oh, geez, we're not any better. Let's go to your phone calls. I'm getting a ton of them. We're going to start off with Dennis. Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Fine, thank you, brother.
So what do you want to say?
Listen to me.
Yeah.
It's about time. It's a long time coming.
Mm-hmm.
We've been abused. Some kids, some guys, some mother, some girl can't even explain. They don't bother with it. They don't go and say, okay, I've been through this. But I'm going to tell you something, brother. I was stopped. I was parked in my car, using my phone. The cops came behind me, looked into the car, saw me using my phone, drove past me, turned and parked over, on the right-hand side, wait till I finish use my phone. Then I drove past them. Now they put their light on, stop me. Then I wind my window down. They come from behind. I said, hi, officer, how's everything? Okay, driver's license and registration. I said, what's the problem, officer? And by the time I said, okay, they dragged me out of my car, dragged me literally out of my car, pushed me up against my vehicle, broke my hand, started to break my hand. You know, break your hands? Breaking my hands, put my hands all the way past my head, over my head to break my arms off. And when I'm crying and said, hey, you're breaking my hand for no reason. What is this for? They just put one of the officers said, no, that's enough. And then he let my hand go, pushed me down, and didn't even write no ticket, didn't give me nothing, and just walked past me, go in their car, and drove off.
Dennis, it makes me so angry, and I can't imagine how angry it must make you and members of your community, you know, black people in the city, to hear that story. I don't know how, because it makes me livid. And I can't, you know, to have to live with that. You just, how do you, you know?
I went up to the police station up there on Westmount, and I made the report. And the sergeant up there that was in charge was so mad. Then those two officers came inside, and I pointed to them and said, those two guys. And he started to yell at them. And I wanted to call the news, call the radio, and call every resources that I have. But he pleaded to me, okay, this would never happen again. But I'm telling you, right now, my finger, that they hold me by my finger, it's still ruining. I can't straighten my finger. And I should have reported to the news. I should have did it. But trust me, and you know what? They're always in dark glasses talking to you. If the sun is not shining and you're not working on the light, you should never have on dark glasses talking to people and rinsing at them with your eyes, and that hateful. They should take off those shit and look people in their eyes so we can see that they're not looking at you with no racial bad vibes, just good intent, talking to you normal and nice.
Dennis, I want to I know what you mean, Dennis. I want you to thank you for calling. Don't feel shy to ever reach out again. And my lines are going crazy. I think there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people.
I just have to tell you, and that's why
Yeah.
people don't like police. And they say people don't like police because they are the one that create bad vibes with people on the street.
And Dennis, this is why I think this class action lawsuit was a necessity. Nothing's changed. How long have these stories been happening like yours, and nothing's changed? So maybe this is what it's going to take. Dennis, thank you for the call. Let's go to Debbie now. Debbie, you just heard Dennis. Hello? What do you have to say? Hey, Debbie, you're on the air.
Finally. I wish I could paint every white person black for them to understand how it is when you're being stopped by the police. They have stopped my kids many times for nothing. Mm-hmm. They have gotten tickets for stupid stuff. My daughter went into the garage to get gas, and she was checking to see if she had any money left on her card. The next thing I know, some guy's coming up, and the next thing I know, he's being aggressive and wants all kinds of information and her license, and then the next thing I know, she's getting a ticket. I come with my daughter around the corner after getting off the bus from Ontario. What do you think? A cop comes because he sees that we're turning. He makes a U-turn, comes and follows us, stops us, asks us for identification. Then we give the identification, and she wants to know, well, what did you stop us for? So when he seen that everything was correct, he said, oh, well, everything's okay. She said, yeah, I know. But it frustrates you. As a mother, I'm so terrified when it comes to my kids going out and having to deal with the cops because they are so bloody racist, and it's just disgusting.
Debbie, do you have any hope it's going to get better?
I don't know. I just hope that maybe with this class action suit, but I think they should have body cams, and when the body cams are turned off, then they're guilty automatically. Mm-hmm. Because it's not fair. The public does not know what is going on, and a lot of people just don't care. If they're going to be bothering people over the clothes and the things that they wear for religious things, think about the people who don't have to wear anything, and they only have to have their color on them, and the game is on.
Debbie, I want to thank you for your call. I think one of the things that you're bringing up is a police department that is incapable of doing what you asked off the top of your call, putting yourself in other people's shoes.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call, Debbie. We're talking about this class action lawsuit against Montreal police for racial profiling, for the harassment, and for sometimes the physical violence that black people in Montreal have to face, people of color have to face in this city. My lines are jammed. I want to go to Bernadette. Bernadette, beautiful name. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. You?
Good. What do you want to say?
Okay, so I'm calling because on the 29th of June, I was taking my children. I live Patricia in St. Jacques. Mm-hmm. So I was going to a restaurant, a 70th birthday party. I left my home. I buckled my 2 children and my nephew in the car, buckled myself. I turned right on St. Jacques. Police was on Elmos going the opposite direction. I had to brake. There was a lady there with her car door open. I continued driving. When I get to West Broadway and Terrebonne, I look back in my rearview mirror. I saw the police behind me, the same police I passed on St. Jacques and Elmos. Yeah. So there was a 51 bus in front of me. The police drove up to my daughter's side and signaled me, you over. And I was shocked. And my husband was on the phone and the sound system, I was talking to him, and I was like, oh, my God, police is pulling me over for absolutely no reason. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what? He said, just pull over. I pulled over. I put the car in park. And I said to him, but nobody's coming. Why are they taking so long? I did nothing. Why? And then I said, you know what? I'm going to see what they want. So at that point, I unbuckled my seatbelt, and he said, no, what are you doing? Don't get out the car. I said, you're right. I'm not thinking rational. They pulled me over. Let them come to me because I did nothing. The driver came up. The police officer came up to me. I said, why are you pulling me over? He said to me, oh, because when you pass us on St. Jacques and Elmos, you didn't have your seatbelt. I'm like, what? I had my seatbelt. Yeah. He said, no, your seatbelt is black. I said, my shirt is blue. So why are you pulling me? He's like, you didn't have your seatbelt. Driver's license registration. He came back, $313 and 3 demerit points. I said, you giving me a ticket for something that I didn't do? I looked at my daughter. I said, did I have my seatbelt? She's like, yes. She's so shy. My son is upset in the back crying. We got to the restaurant. My son was so mad. He cried. Mommy, the police lied. He said you didn't have your seatbelt, but you had your seatbelt. Prior to that, I couldn't drive. I was so distraught. I drove into the police station in Summerlin. I walked up to the lady and I said, look, this is wrong. This is wrong. And I showed her. She said, oh, my God, I explained to her. Mind you, the minute I don't put my seatbelt, my car will ding. Why would I buckle my children, take the time to buckle my children, drive in and don't put my seatbelt? Now, I passed you on St. Jacques and Elmont. Why didn't you stop me then? Why follow me? You never sirened me. You never did anything like that. The way you stopped me, the manner, drove up on my daughter's side. And I told them before I left, I said, you guys racial profile me. I'm not leaving it like that. I'm taking it further. And I did. I was trying to do that. I even called your radio station. And me, right now, I'm going to court to fight this ticket. And I'm fighting it with my life. Because in front of my children, my son can come to me and he was crying. I had to console him. I said, it's fine. He said, Mommy, they lied. You had your seatbelt. I'm taking my children to court. This is wrong. In front of my children, you came and tell a blunt lie like that, and it's 3 officers, 3 of them, and you telling me I didn't have my seatbelt. This is wrong. It has to stop.
And what kind of message does it send to your 2 kids, right? What kind of message does it send to yeah.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I had to talk to my son. I said, I know police are supposed to be honest. They're supposed to tell the truth, but this happens sometimes. I explained to him, I work with the public. I don't exercise my power like this. They're supposed to protect the public, not to use their power to do things like this. You know, it's wrong. It's totally wrong. And I told them that. I told them I work in the public. And if you come in, I work in the hospital. I'm like, if you come in the hospital, whether you're white, you're black, or Chinese, I don't do that. And you shouldn't do that to people for no reason. I know they're trying to meet their quota, but don't do it on innocent people in front of children.
And what's their excuse? What's their excuse for not fixing this problem? It's how many decades do we have to live with this stuff? Bernadette, I want to thank you for your call. Appreciate it.
Thank you for hearing me, and I hope it stops. I hope our voice is heard, and I hope it stops. Not all police officers are bad. Not all. There are really wonderful ones out there, and
absolutely
I have 4 friends. Not all, but the ones who really take the law and the power into their hands and feel, hey, I'm in authority and I could exercise my power, that's where it's wrong. That's where it should stop.
Thank you.
And I hope something has to be done. Something has to be done.
And Bernadette, thanks for the call. And hopefully it's a class action lawsuit that finally gets things to change. Let's go to Gail now. Hi, Gail. Hello. Sorry for the wait.
Hello. No, that's fine. I want to add another spin to this. First of all, I think that racism is probably one of the most hideous things we all live with here. And looking around, I have intervened myself with police, with people of all different nationalities. My concern here is the police have a problem. We know that. And we also know in particular the black people are being picked out and victimized. We know that. But it's not that. It's hate and anger and lack of control. The only behavioral mechanism that can be changed is internal. We need to have for the police sessions of sitting down after and discussing with a psychologist what their hates are, what their fears are. They also deal with a system in the court that's forever ignoring them. I've seen them mishandling Aboriginals downtown. It's horrid. I mean, this is something, they are inconfident. They have decided to use aggression to feed back. But behavior is a personal issue. And unless I transform my thoughts, I don't change. And we're working here with a class action which is probably going to antagonize them more. I'm not sure where we're going. I say have wrap-up sessions, put cameras on them, but after every 2 shifts, come and sit down and talk in a group about your experiences, why you were afraid, why you felt intimidated to the police, and how you can help it. Then offer incentive programs in the police force for people that have no calls against them. You get an extra 4 days off. Let me tell you, I've worked with these programs with people. It's 100% advantage. They change a bit.
Gail, I got to get to other callers. I want to thank you.
Okay.
I want to thank you for calling. I think you said that word incentive. Well, there has to be an incentive for them to change, and maybe it takes a class action lawsuit and a big court ruling that makes them pay. And one thing we need a police force that's representative of the population. If a third of Montreal is visible minority and 2% of the police force, I don't know the number, by the way, it could be higher, it could be lower, and single digits of the police force is visible minority, you're never going to get something representative. I'm going to squeeze in one more caller, but stay on the line, folks, because we're going to keep this going into the next hour, okay? Let's go to Troy in LaSalle. Hey, Troy, what do you say?
Hi, good morning, Elias. DWB is common with me, driving while black.
Yeah.
My business partners and I, we had a car wash in Montreal North, and we used to wash all the police vehicles. So one night I was driving my brand new car, and an officer that I've never seen before comes and puts on the lights behind me, asks me for my license and registration. I ask why. He says, "Oh, just common insurance check."
I never had that before. I never had any. You guys have a common insurance check? Jay, you ever get a common insurance check out there? No, nobody's had a common insurance check.
It gets better. It gets better. So I give him my information. I take his badge number and I write down the car number. Little did he know that I know the station commander. So then the next day I walk in and I ask for the station commander. I explain to him what happened, right? And he's like, no, this is not right. Mm-hmm. So he tells me to come back in 2 days when the officer's back on shift. I come in, I'm sitting in the office. The officer walks in and he looked like he saw a ghost. You understand?
Yeah.
And the station commander asked him, why did you stop him, this and that. And he goes, oh, well, he was driving erratic. I said, no.
Troy, can you hang on? Can you just stay on? Because I got to go. We're out of time here, but we're gonna keep this rolling because we're getting so many stories from people. So Troy, hang on the line, please. So we are talking about this class action lawsuit against Montreal police, and we got so many calls and so many stories of people that are frustrated and angry, and boy, I would be too. I mean, I am, but I just can't imagine how upsetting, how tough it is mentally. If you're a person of color in this city, you've got to deal with this on a daily basis. So we asked our callers that we couldn't get to in the last half hour of the show to stick around. They have. It just shows you how important this is. So let's get through those calls. 790-0800. We will try to squeeze you in. Daryl, we'll start off with Daryl. Hey, Daryl, what do you want to say?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good.
I normally don't call in, but this subject really got to me this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Listen here, I'm a first-generation Canadian. My parents are from the West Indies, and my father was a police officer. So basically, from the time I was a young man, I always admire and looked up to police officers because I used to look up to my father and the man that he was, mm-hmm. and I was taught to respect police officers and, basically do what they say, and that basically all changed when I started driving.
So what happened when you started driving?
Oh, my gosh. When I was about 20, my father, he bought a car, and I started driving, so he gave me his car. It was a pretty recent car, and I was young, so, obviously I put, rims on it, and I dressed it up and made it my own. Mm-hmm. And the amount of times I got pulled over, I don't have any speeding tickets. I don't have any I have all my 15 points. I'm a very good driver. And I think within the first 2 weeks, I was thoroughly pulled over 4 times. There was a time I went to the West Island. I lived in CJAD to stay with my girlfriend. It was probably 4:30 in the morning. I finished work. I was heading over there. The police pulled me over, and they basically had me there for about half an hour trying to figure out why I was in the West Island.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And to me, if you have a car, you should be able to go anywhere at any time,
It's, you shouldn't even have to say that. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous that you even have to say that out loud, right?
Listen, I have rules now. When I get pulled over, I don't even speak to the police in English. Mm-hmm. I go into French mode. I say as flat as I can.
Yeah.
Listen, there's even a time that I got pulled over by a lady police officer, and she wanted to verify my information. I couldn't find my registration. So she pulled me out of the car and she handcuffed me.
Oh, my God.
This lady was probably half my size. I'm a little over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And she wanted to handcuff me, and I allowed her to handcuff me, and she was trying to push me around.
Yeah.
Now, this lady, on a regular day, I could probably take this lady and throw her. Mm-hmm. And I explained to the lady, I said, listen, if you want me to comply, I'm complying, but please don't push me around. You're not going to push me around. Mm-hmm. And once they put the handcuffs on me, she got her partner to come over and put me on the floor while I was cooperating. So I had to stay on the floor while they searched my car.
Yeah. Daryl, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It's incredible.
And you're someone who wanted to be a police officer, right? This is so systemic. It's such a Daryl. Listen, I got to get to my other callers. Thank you for calling, and do call back, okay?
I got you, man. Thanks.
All right. Let's go to Troy now in LaSalle. Hey, Troy.
Yes, I was finishing my conversation with you before the break.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry about that, Troy. You know, we've been getting so many callers. I lost track of that. So yeah, Troy, when we left you off, you were telling us about how the police officer came to see you.
Yeah, so he came to see me, and he came in the office, and I explained to him what happened. He was trying to explain to the commander that, no, I didn't stop him for that. He was driving erratically. And I said, no. You said there was a random insurance check. Lo and behold, long story short, he got suspended for 2 days. All right. But here's the thing. I tried to explain driving while black to some of my Caucasian friends. They have no clue. They don't understand. Until one day they were in the car with me, one of my buddies. I randomly got stopped, just random. I don't drive erratic. I'm okay. And he said to himself, oh, my God, this happens a lot. I go, more than you know. One more thing, Elias, before I let you go.
Yeah.
On my way home yesterday, I was coming off the Angry exit on the 20, okay? An SQ officer was driving like he was driving towards the airport, looks at me, and then revs the car and comes out of the lane into the exit ramp with me, and he's behind me the whole time running all my information. I know it because I see him touching the screen and everything. He realizes there's nothing he's going to get me on, and then he pulls off, turns around, and goes back onto the highway the other way.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just something, you know, you shouldn't have to deal with that just trying to go about your day-to-day life, you know?
Yeah, you shouldn't, but you know what? It is what it is. I just tell people now, just film it. Record everything.
Yeah.
Because it puts them on their P's and Q's, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I tell my wife, turn on your camera. That's it. No problem.
Troy, thanks for calling, huh?
Take care, guys. Have a good day.
Okay. Let's go to Denise now. Denise, sorry for the wait. Tell me what you want to say.
Hi, Elias. Thank you.
No problem.
I'm not going to pretend that that cops are really sweet and gentle, because some are. And I'm not a visible minority. I just wanted to make a point about discrimination and an incident that happened to me as well. I've been driving for 39 years. I'm 55 years old. I know exactly, how to drive, what to do, what not to do, etc. I have experience. However, last year I was at a red light, and there was a cop that pulled over someone on the intersection. So I was waiting there, and then the light went green. I approached to go and turn, and the cop put his hand up saying stop. So I stopped. And then as the way cleared, I was about to go. I was inching my way to turn because I had a green light. The cop sat on my hood and bounced up and down, boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
Because you're not moving.
Yeah.
I took a couple of pictures, and I was like, what the hell is this? And he never came to me, never said anything. He just wanted me to wait there. Other cars were going around me. I think it was because I inched along to say, like, okay, well, coast is clear, I'm going to go. But he sat on my hood and bounced like he was like a child. So I just wanted to share that.
All right. Thanks, Denise, for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go now to John in NDG. Hi, John.
Hi, John. How you doing?
Good. What's your story?
Yeah, I'm just talking based on most of the calls that we've been hearing, and from what I've been seeing, Station 11 and NDG, I think they are really profiling a lot of us. And most of the calls you get is based on that station. We have so many stories. Even me right now, I'm fearing for my own life, my safety of what's happening in NDG. I had so many run-ins with the police that recently I'm going to court with one right now that I was stopped by the police. Now, I was stopped. I was driving. I stopped. The police was stopped on the left side of me. Our eyes made contact. And as I drove off, he came after me. I stopped on a light on Cavendish and Terrebonne. He's behind me. The light changed. As I proceed, he pulled me over.
Wow.
License and registration. I said, what happened? Oh, you're driving a car that belongs to a learner's permit. I said, sure, no problem. I gave him my documents, but because I speak English, he started in French. So he says to me, license and registration. I gave my license and registration. Then he says to me in English now, you're not giving me the insurance. I said, you never asked for the insurance. Oh, I'm going to give you a ticket for that. And yes, he did. He gave me 2 tickets. He gave me one for the insurance and one for driving a car that's a learner's permit. I have a full driver's license.
Yeah.
But because it's registered to my girlfriend that has a learner's permit, I get a ticket for driving a car that belongs to a learner's permit. Now, I went to Station 11 to make a report. When I go there, you can't get no one to speak to at the desk, which I'm expecting that because it's a brotherhood. And what I was told, hey, you got to get out. We have more important things to do.
John, it's listen, it's 45 minutes now that I've been hearing these stories. It's unacceptable. I guess it is about time we start to have a class action lawsuit and do more. I want to thank you for the call, John. Thanks for giving us your 2 cents on that.